everyone, it's Chelsea here, bringing you another segment of Living in Southwest Florida. One of the first questions I see in a lot of my Facebook groups is people asking for why they should move to Fort Myers or advice on what they can expect. It's pretty much a reoccurring theme that we have seen every single week. Honestly, I applaud these questions because everybody should be doing their due diligences before a major move. And while there are a lot of videos for the pros and cons of living in Florida, and you may hear several that you've heard of before, I'm going to try to expand on them with a little bit of my own extra thoughts and point out some things that you may not have already known about. Also, I'm going to be giving some shout outs to the crowd here and add in some very personalized additions from our community. So if you already live nearby, then keep an eye out for yours, which might be featured. Before we get started, it would mean a lot to me though if you could go ahead and hit that like button so that the YouTube algorithms can share this info with others, and it lets me know what you'd like more of. And as a thank you, here's a picture of a sign at Rotary Gardens in Cape Coral with all the butterflies of Lee County. All right, let's jump right in. Let's start off with one of the biggest pros, the lifestyle. There are a ton of outdoor activities for people in all walks of life. Some of the big ones that may have you even considering the move to begin with include boating, fishing, camping, hiking, golfing. Florida is also one of the top areas in the world for equestrian sports, and we are only a few hours away from Ocala and from Wellington for major horse events. Also, for being a smaller town, we have sporting events, festivals, and concerts still all readily available. Even Hamilton came here. Both the Minnesota Twins and the Boston Red Sox do spring training locally, and the Twins minor league team, the Mighty Muscles, are always a fun way to spend a Friday night. Or if hockey is more your thing, the minor league team Florida Everblades play nearby in Estero. I'm going to add that one of the things I personally appreciate as a mom of young children are all of the opportunities for my kids. We have museums like the IMAG, the Ford Estate, and the Children's Museum of Naples, all pretty close by. There's also aquariums and a zoo, animal rescues that open up to the public. On a day-to-day basis, we spend a lot of time going to many of the local parks and splash pads, as well as the great library system and a ton of the U-Pick farms. All of these things are either immediately local or within an hour so that I can keep them entertained on both a small and large scale. And if we want to go further out and make a long day trip or quick overnight trip somewhere, all the big attractions like Busch Gardens, Disney World, Universal, Kennedy Space Center, and even Key West are all really drivable. Some like Key West are even faster to get to by boat. And that's part of the pro of location. Fort Myers is a great location. It's not too far from the bigger cities like Miami, Tampa, and Orlando, but still far enough to feel like a small town vibe and a slower pace of life. And if you really need to get out of town, like say for work or for play, there's an international airport, Southwest Florida International Airport, or RSW, that's right here in our backyard. There's also some great restaurants, including a lot of waterfront options, and ones in the downtown area are known as the Fort Myers River District. This river district is particularly charming and it hosts many live events every year, including Art Walk every first Friday of the month and Music Walk every third Friday. Down on Fort Myers Beach, there's usually a ton of festivals like the Shrimp Festival, a sand sculpting festival, Taste of the Islands, which you probably don't want to have on the same weekend. Coming up soon, we have a big 4th of July celebration over the Caloosahatchee River, so it's available to both Cape Coral and Fort Myers. And there's a ton of boat parades during the holidays where they're all lit up and decorated, which is pretty cool to watch. My husband and I are big craft beer fans, and there are plenty of options for a date night for us solo, and some that are even family friendly as well, so that's a big perk for us. One of the cons, though, is that this is also considered the slow coast, and so there's a lot less nightlife. There aren't really any nightclubs if that's your thing. My husband and I were floored when we moved here from a large city and went on a date to the movies and dinner on a Sunday. By the time we left the movie just before 9 p.m., we found out that almost all of the restaurants were closing. We really had to hunt for just a couple that were still open long enough to eat. From now on, we plan more accordingly for those things that close earlier. But in that sense, it can have a really small town vibe. Also, people tend to work on island time often, so be prepared that sometimes it takes a little extra time to get things done. Now, I haven't mentioned yet probably that number one reason for lifestyle that people even consider moving to Florida, the beach. And that's a major pro. I would even say it's probably the number one reason why people mention they're moving to Florida to begin with. I mean, the odds are that it's probably what made you look up this video to start. It's amazing being able to step out and go to the beach pretty much whenever you want. You want to go right now? We could go right now. But I'm also going to add that to the aspects of the con list. Traffic increases with all of those snowbirds that are coming and attracted to the beach. And it can be a con or a pro since our economy does rely heavily on the hospitality and tourism industries. But unless you live in Fort Myers Beach or Estero, the chances are that the beach is kind of a pain to get to with only one bridge accessing Fort Myers Beach. In other words, a lot of Fort Myers can get landlocked. But if the beach and the salt life are really your thing, some of the best beaches can also be accessed quickly by boat. So if you're lucky enough to live on the river or on one of the canals, the beach options open up significantly. But I mean, real talk, the fact that we're even talking about traffic as a con in one of the most beautiful places in the world is still probably a win. So let's just get this pro right out of the way because it'll probably be repeated ad nauseum. The weather. In the pro category, this is the sunshine state for a reason. And all the northerners coming down to escape snow, you'll be really happy to send back pictures to all of your freezing friends of your days in tank tops and swimsuits. Even better is seeing their jealous faces on FaceTime from the pool or a sunset on the beach. All that sunshine makes for some jaw-dropping sunsets, and they're worthy of their own mention. And you may find yourselves having a hard time not posting too many pictures of it. The first con, too, also the weather. There are no seasons, there is just summer, and that can be a comfortable winter heat or it can be a balmy sweat in places you didn't know you could sweat in type of heat. It's also unpredictable, especially during summertime. The extra humidity creates afternoon storms, and they seem to come and go at will. Just last night when I was driving home from my office, half of the drive was bone dry and the other half was drenched. It becomes really challenging to forecast, so take all weather reports with a massive grain of salt. For people like my husband, though, who spend a lot of their time out west, he actually really looks forward to the storms. And I must admit that watching the lightning and listening to the rain can be really beautiful. And lastly, we can't mention weather without mentioning hurricanes. Luckily for us here on the Gulf Coast, we have historically received less direct hits than other locations, but they are a very real threat and something to be taken very seriously. The good news for all this, though, you can prep well in advance. There are many technological advances in recent years for building techniques, like hurricane-proof windows and ICF construction blocks that will also help significantly. And like I said, there's advanced warning so you can get out of Dodge if necessary. Also on the pro-con list, the critters. I think I've watched at least a half dozen of these videos, and they've all talked about the cons of palmetto bugs and the alligators and the snakes and the stuff and the yeah and the yeah and the yeah. We've got them. But I want to add on to the pro list about how cute some of them can be. I mean, burrowing owls are adorable. They're all over the area, and Cape Coral is one of the most heavily populated burrowing owl cities in the world. They're also endangered. So before we move on, here's a quick burrowing owl montage. Every time I see them, I squeal. They're so cute. Also, I'm obsessed with the egrets that walk around the front yards and the cormorants that sun themselves in the canals. During the winter, the manatees and the dolphins make their way into the canals where the water is warmer, and my kids just love watching them swim around. During the summer on rainy nights, there's a symphony of frogs that can be mesmerizing. Seriously, the amount of frogs it must take to make that much sound is mind-blowing. Just be careful to frog-proof stuff because they can shore out the wiring on things like well pumps. Even baby bunnies can be cute as long as they stay out of the garden. And as for the bad guys, alligators tend to avoid areas with high human noise, so they usually steer clear. The county sprays for mosquitoes, so in my opinion, that was actually worse than other places we've been. Sure, there are no-see-ums, which are miserable, and you do need to wear shoes so you don't get bit by fire ants. There's also heavy restrictions on building in lots that have burrowing owl nests and gopher tortoise dens. I will go over these more in a future video, so if you'd like to catch that, be sure to subscribe to the channel. But anyway, our family loves feeling more connected with nature here. There's one hot button topic that I've been saving, and the reason why is because I've been hearing it from a lot of new residents: politics. The pandemic has been life altering for a multitude of reasons. Some people wanted to move here to be closer to beaches and sunshine, and some people did not want to live in states that had heavier regulations and rules. With the election of 2020, we saw Florida's political stances become national news. And this can certainly be one of those things that may be a pro in your eyes if you agree with them, or maybe a con depending on which side of the aisle you identify with. I can assure you that no matter the political affiliation, there are still opportunities for each side to become involved, but it's something that you may want to consider. A pro that I want to address is also the financial aspect. This is due to the state regulations, but Floridians are very fortunate to not have to pay state income tax. So, if you can claim Florida as your full time residency and you make money here in the state, then congrats! You'll get to keep it. This is another reason we can thank those snowbirds, as the tourism taxes help offset the loss of income tax. And homeowners in the state of Florida with primary residency can also claim a wide range of homestead tax exemptions. And if you are a Florida resident and you decide to move within Florida, the Save Our Homes Act lets you take your lower tax base with you onto your next home, called portability. Both of these acts are kind of complicated, so it'll be another one of those future videos you can catch soon. But just know that it really helps reduce those tax bases to help you save money. And our final con: too many realtors. This one is kind of in jest, and while I'd love to say that I'm the only realtor, the fact is there are a ton. I'm not even the only one with a YouTube channel or the only one who's made a pro-con video before. Let's be honest, being a realtor makes a great second career for many, and the barrier of entry is relatively low. There are a ton of amazing realtors out there, and they're very professional and know exactly how to serve you. If I have any advice to avoid getting overly slammed while scoping out the area, it'd be to search for representation that is knowledgeable in the area and the paperwork and the processes. Also, look for someone who you can relate to well with, as this is somebody who you're going to work very closely with for a very emotional and stressful process sometimes. It should be someone you can communicate well with and you want to spend your time with. And lastly, choose someone who you are comfortable with representing you to the outside world. Sometimes the home you want or the home that you need sold can be relationship based and nuanced. So choose somebody you believe will be able to help navigate you through those challenges. Lastly, as you meet lots of realtors, be upfront and honest. Don't let anyone bully you into things you aren't comfortable with. If you aren't ready to move forward, it's 1000% okay to be open and say so. So, what do you think? Are any of these the reasons that you are considering moving to Florida? Do you have any more to add? Please feel free to leave me a comment below and let me know. Who knows, maybe I'll use them for a future update video. And as always, you can find my contact information below in the video description if you'd like to run questions by me for your specific scenario. Or you use capecoralfortmyersrealestate.com for all your latest listings to hit the market. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe button, and notification bells, and feel free to add me on social media. So with that said, thank you for watching. I appreciate it, and until next time.